Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up, we do not have a fun show for you guys because we're going to be talking about the possibility of Justin Jefferson getting traded this offseason. And why are we talking about it? I didn't want to talk about it, but the head insider in the NFL, Adam Schefter, was on Get Up this morning, and he was talking about the possibility of the Vikings trading number 18, and this is what he had to say. He says, it's hard to imagine that they would trade Justin Jefferson. But then again, a year ago, I would have said it's hard to imagine the Dallas Cowboys would have traded Micah Parsons, and they did. Now, I think on the Vikings front here, it all comes down to Justin Jefferson. Because if Justin Jefferson comes to the front office and says, hey, I want out of Minnesota, then I do think the Vikings front office would do right by Jefferson and trade him out of the organization. But what's different between the Jefferson situation and the Micah situation was the Micah situation was all of Jerry Jones. He didn't want to give Micah that contract. He was like, screw it. I'll go get multiple first-round picks. I'll go get a player for him, and then we'll go on from there. But that's not the case with Justin Jefferson. The Justin Jefferson trade talks are about, hey, Jefferson's in the prime of his career. He's still the best wide receiver in the National Football League. He has made it crystal clear all he wants to do is win a Super Bowl. So if he sees the Vikings situation and the quarterback play and where this franchise is heading, and he says, man, I don't want to be here, that's the only way the Vikings would ever consider trading him, because even if this season the Vikings don't win another game and Jefferson doesn't request a trade, I don't think there's a chance that they are willingly picking up the phone for number 18. But speaking about number 18, this guy's awesome. Honestly, I think he has done a great job of kind of controlling his emotions this year because, man, I mean, could you imagine being him? You got the most receiving yards per game in NFL history, and now this year with J.J. McCarthy and Max Brosman, you're averaging like 48 yards per game compared to your normal 97, and he has still, done a good job of just like, not being cryptic, not, causing drama around the organization. So I need everybody watching today's show, type those 18s down below to show the best wide receiver in the National Football League some love. So I do think from Jefferson's perspective here, it is going to also come down to how patient Justin Jefferson will be with the Minnesota Vikings, because obviously the quarterback position is a huge question mark right now. As it stands right now, when we were filming this December 3rd, the Vikings have the worst quarterback room in the entire NFL by a wide margin. So it's going to come down to how patient number 18 will be with this organization, but also will he be okay with running it back with J.J. McCarthy? Like if the Vikings organization, if they come to him and they say, hey, Jefferson, we're going to go all in on this guy. No matter what happens next year, he's going to be our starter for all 17 games. Is he going to be okay with that? Or is he going to be like, man, I'm in the prime of my career. I want to go somewhere else. I got to play with it. We're a for sure competent quarterback. And that gets me back to this Mac Jones thing. I am so confident Mac Jones will be a Viking next season, and I am so against it. Because if you are the front office, if you're Kevin O'Connell, if you're, Kwesi adofo-mensah, and you are some of these leaders in the Vikings organization, your seat is hot. You can't afford to go 3-14 the next year after a year where this year you're going to go either 4-13 or 5-12. And also you have a superstar wide receiver who is clearly struggling because of the quarterback play. Why not just go get the safe option? And that's Mac Jones. So I think there's just more evidence that Mac Jones will eventually be a Viking. And, it's crazy looking at Jefferson's numbers. That 2022 season, he was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, the Vikings won 14 games, and I thought, he was fifth in MVP voting that year. I honestly thought that was a little disrespectful to him, undervaluing how impactful he was. He was making clutch catches like the 4th and 18 in Buffalo. He went for 1,800 yards, and even in a year with Nick Mullins, Jaron Hall, and Josh Dobbs playing in 10 games in 2023, he still went for over 1,000. Last year, he was fantastic, 1,500 yards, but this year, in 12 games played, he still hasn't even hit 800 yards yet. So he is clearly not getting the normal production that he is used to, and only 2 touchdowns. That's a joke, and that's on the Vikings, offense as a whole. But I think it's going to start here, and you could also throw up like the Micah Parsons trade here as well, where I think it's going to start with 2 first-round picks and a player. If the Vikings do end up trading Justin Jefferson, because the New York Jets for Sauce Gardner, who was Sauce Gardner and Justin Jefferson, like Jefferson's got incredibly higher trade value than Sauce. They were still able to get 2 first-round picks and A.D. Mitchell, where A.D. Mitchell's actually having a pretty damn good year. So this is where it starts. And also about the Justin Jefferson trade, if he does get traded, I think it's going to be like a shocking move where we didn't see this coming. And for the main reason, because I don't think it will ever be reported that Justin Jefferson requests a trade. I don't think he'll ever, go to his agent, go to a local beat reporter, go to anybody and put that information out there that he wants out of Minnesota, because that's just not who he is. He is a team-first guy. He has made that crystal clear. But I do think, like, maybe behind the scenes, he could request a trade to the front office where he goes up to Kwesi and the whole unit and says, hey, guys, I'm not happy with where this team is going. I don't want to cause a drama. I want to make this easier on you, but also I want you guys to do me right. Send me to a contender. Send me to one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. But I don't think it would ever be reported, even if Jefferson does get traded, that he just went out there and he requested a trade. Now, after he gets traded, maybe that information starts to come out. But beforehand, I don't think that will ever be the situation. But where do you stand on this? Because I do know there's a lot of Vikings fans out there that are a lot more open to this idea than I am. So you guys, let me know your thoughts. Should the Vikings trade Justin Jefferson? Give me a T for trade or give me a P for pass. Really want to know your guys' thoughts on this. So drop those thoughts in the comment section. Now we'll talk about this Jefferson trade a little more in depth because it's a very interesting situation. But before we do so, I do want to give a massive shout out to today's sponsor, that's Factor Meals. Now if you guys want to eat smart, head over to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50off and plug in promo code VikingsChat50off, and we'll hook you guys up with 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 whole year. Now, the fall season always feels like a reset. Between back to school, busy routines, and shorter days, finding time to cook can be tough. That's why I love Factor. Their chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious, no matter how hectic the season gets. Now, I love Factor because they got more variety and more meals. You guys can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp, and no extra cost. You guys can also support your wellness goals, enjoy even more GLP-1 friendly meals and new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good-for-you fat. So eat smart at factormeals.com/VikingsChat50off and plug in promo code VikingsChat50off to get 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Plug in that promo code VikingsChat50off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. All right, some more thoughts on Justin Jefferson here. And if the Vikings do end up trading him, this would be a hard rebuild for the Vikings. Like, I don't think there's any situation that could play out where the Vikings trade Justin Jefferson and they're still trying to compete that next year. That's just not possible. That's just not logical. You don't trade one of the best players in the NFL, and then the next year you go out there and try to compete. Now, you could make an argument, well, Patrick, look what the Kansas City Chiefs did when they traded Tyreek Hill and went back-to-back Super Bowls. We're not the Kansas City Chiefs. They had Patrick Mahomes. They had Andy Reid. We have J.J. McCarthy and Kevin O'Connell. It is night and day to even try to compare those situations. And also, with the Vikings going rebuild, the Wilfs will never rebuild. The ownership group for the Vikings, they have made it crystal clear since they bought this team 21 years ago that they will never commit to a rebuild. They want to stay relevant enough where fans are still watching every game, but they would never go all in. I mean, I guess they tried to go all in this year and ended up backfiring completely, but they would never commit to a full rebuild. They want to stay relevant. They hate the idea of them potentially drafting top 5 and having the season just be a disaster. And also, kind of where I'm at on this, I don't think you trade all-time great talents like Justin Jefferson. Now, obviously, I think Micah Parsons is an all-time great talent. And the Cowboys traded him, ended up working out. But also the Cowboys, you got Dak Prescott. When you have that franchise quarterback, you can make anything work. But when you have where the Vikings are at the quarterback position, I just don't think you trade an all-time great talent like Justin Jefferson. At least that's just where I'm at. Now, yes, you can make the argument, well, what if you get 2 first-round picks? Well, what if you get another good player? Okay, well then also, what would the wide receiver room look like? You would just be drafting another wide receiver hoping they are Justin Jefferson. And now you could make the argument, it's like, Patrick, we traded Stephon Diggs, and we got Justin Jefferson. You're not going to do that again. There will never be another receiver as good as Justin Jefferson in this organization for a very, very long time. The Vikings have been getting lucky with the wide receivers. I mean, Randy Moss, Chris Carter, Diggs, Thielen, Jettas. I mean, it's incredible what they've done at the wide receiver spot, but you're never going to find a guy that's as good as number 18. Now, his contract's also maybe another reason why you would be open to trading him, because over the next 3 years, I mean, pretty significant cap hits. $39 million next year, $43.5 million in 2027, and then $47.5 million in 2028, and you also have a void year in 2029 just to move $6 million back. But still, I just don't think you can do it. because with also the Vikings, with where they're at, they're still trying to find that franchise quarterback. Well, a franchise quarterback's best friend would be number 18. Like, you don't just want to move off this guy, and then it's like, okay, well, if TJ Hawkinson's also off the team, then you're looking at the Vikings' weapons, and if you just remove Jefferson, it's like, okay, you got Addison. That's about it. Like, even your running back position is not young. Like, Jordan Mason's in the prime of his career right now, but he could also fall off a cliff over the next couple of years if, who knows what's going to happen there. Aaron Jones, like, obviously he's got maybe one more year left in him, but you would have a need at tight end. You would have a need at wide receiver. So unless Justin Jefferson comes to this front office and says, I will never play a game with the Minnesota Vikings again, I'm not moving him. But if you do move him, send him to the other conference. These are only 5 teams that I would trade Jefferson to. And also, this is doing Justin Jefferson right. You're not sending him to the Tennessee Titans. You're not sending him to one of these bottom feeders in the NFC or AFC. Buffalo Bills, just do the Stephon Diggs trade all over again and get a lot more in return. The Denver Broncos, they got Bo Nix, they got Sean Payton. Even though I don't think Bo Nix is that good, but they still got a really good organization and a really good team. How about you pair him up with Drake May? I'm sure the Patriots have some interest there. How about the Baltimore Ravens? They want to get super aggressive, try to take advantage of Lamar Jackson. I know Jefferson. I mean, could you imagine if it's Justin Jefferson, Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson next year? I mean, that would be like a Madden Ultimate team. Then the Kansas City Chiefs. They would try to replicate the Brady Moss era. Obviously, they don't need another wide receiver, but I don't think the Chiefs would turn down the idea of adding Justin Jefferson to that team. And also, I think with Jefferson, like, he's going to have to see some growth from J.J. McCarthy during the remainder of the season. And with how oriented Jefferson's, thought process is, if he sees just a little bit from J.J. where he's like, okay, yes, he struggled for the first 6 games of his career, but the last couple, he showed me some major flashes. We can build off that. Like, that would be huge to just keep him happy. And honestly, if I'm the Vikings, you obviously want to develop J.J. That's probably the number one goal for the rest of the season. But also, if you're thinking long-term and you want number 18 to stick around, get this dude his numbers. Because you cannot have another game like you had against the Seahawks where that guy is leaving the game with 2 catches for 4 yards, and the last catch was in complete garbage time, or else he would have had a catch for -4 yards. That can't happen again. I'll end it off with this. This sucks. I hate making this video. I hate talking about it. I think it's still a little ludicrous to talk about, but Schefter was talking about it this morning. And in the end, I feel bad for Justin Jefferson. He's one of the best players of all time at the wide receiver position. He is a class act. There is no diva in him whatsoever. He has always just done the right thing at the wide receiver spot. He's an incredible, incredible player. He's an incredible leader in your locker room. He's just got this aura and this swagger about him that is probably contagious for his teammates. And still, I look back at that 2022 season, like, I've never seen a receiver carry a team the way Jefferson did. 1,800 yards. They won 13 games. The defense was literally the worst in the National Football League, and they were still able to win 13 games, and a big reason for that was because of number 18 and how good he played. So this sucks. I hate talking about it. I feel bad for Justin Jefferson, but it's just reality of the situation. Like, this is how bad it is in Vikings land right now, where Adam Thielen just requested to be cut by this team to go play with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now Jefferson, it's a chance he requests a trade. I can't believe it. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hit me with those SKOLs down below in the comments section. We'll see you guys next time. As always, let's go Vikes.